Yeah, yeah, it's going digital.
Hi everyone, welcome to our online version of digital culture. This week we'll be looking at online privacy, net neutrality, and censorship online. We all have secrets. Garcia Marquez said that all human beings have three lives: public, private, and secret. Public is your social media, small talk, things that everyone knows about you. With our private lives, we decide who should and shouldn't see it. And secret are things that no one knows. Well, in this day and age, is it still possible to have things that no one knows? The truth is that any equipment that has the capability of recording audio and video also has the ability to record it even when you don't engage it in doing so. We've already talked about in our class how our apps on our phones are often tracking us and keeping information about us and sharing that with other companies. Your computer has a camera and it listens to you. It may be sharing information about you. How many of you have taken a flight in the past year? You had to pass through TSA and you experienced some kind of body scan. Well, what are those images that they are scanning? What do they do with those images? How are those stored? Are those shared anywhere? This is a fashion college, so many of you will go shopping. Have you ever been inside a fitting room and wondered, can anyone see me? Am I truly private in this room as I'm changing into different clothing I'm trying on? Or what about bathrooms? Are bathrooms secure? Can you be private there? I personally get a lot of robo and unsolicited sales calls. Were you aware that Facebook lets companies and others look up your phone number? And so we're going to look a little bit this week at privacy and how companies are doing this. We also are going to explore the concept of net neutrality. What does that mean? Anytime you are making a phone call, your location can be traced. Some people have resorted to using burner phones to get around this issue. In a similar way, if you send an email, somebody could use the email header to trace the IP address and find your location that way. An alias email address won't protect you from this, but it will still help you avoid an overload of spam. But privacy is not the only concern for our information online. We also have issues with access. This is where net neutrality comes in. Think of the internet like a giant highway. Websites are the cars, and ISPs are the traffic controllers. With net neutrality, all the data is treated equally. The traffic signals spread across all four lanes and allow equal access to the road. Without net neutrality, ISPs can let people pay money to drive in fast lanes and force people they don't like to drive in slow lanes. They can turn away cars entirely if they disagree with them. Without net neutrality laws, ISPs can accept payments from companies seeking to prioritize their online content over their competitors. This paid prioritization model means that ISPs could choose to speed up the loading time of websites or mobile platforms of companies paying them and slow down the loading speeds of other companies' internet platforms. Paid prioritization puts big businesses at a distinct advantage over small businesses, as big businesses will have the ability to more readily pay the ISPs to prioritize their content. We first heard about net neutrality in 2003 when the term was coined by Tim Wu in an article on online discrimination. At this time, Comcast wouldn't connect to VPNs. It wanted them to purchase pro accounts and it wouldn't connect to them if they just had a standard Comcast account. AT&T also wouldn't connect with personal Wi-Fi routers. Well, in 2005, the FCC said all legal content has to be accessible online and that customers can use whatever device they want. And so this overruled what Comcast and AT&T were doing. And we had net neutrality. Well, in 2008, Comcast blocked BitTorrent. The FCC stepped in and said, no, this is not allowed. We have net neutrality. Comcast sued the FCC and won. They were able to overturn this net neutrality in 2008. In 2009, Apple was caught blocking Skype calls at the request of AT&T. AT&T, of course, would prefer for customers to use their long distance and be charged that way rather than the free Skype option that was available. Well, in 2010, President Obama redid the net neutrality law. And it said that no, companies have to treat online content the same. You cannot prioritize one over the other or block sites that you disapprove of or that act against you. Well, in 2014, Verizon sued against net neutrality and they won. They were allowed to block BitTorrent and other sites. In 2015, the FCC passed net neutrality, they were sued, and they held up in court. They said, okay, you can no longer practice blocking sites, content that you disagree with. You cannot throttle sites that have not paid up or that are conflicting with your company, and you cannot offer paid prioritization. Companies cannot pay to have priority speeds in loading their sites. So in 2015, we now have net neutrality again. In 2016, we have a new chair, Ajit Pai, and he has blocked net neutrality. He reversed the net neutrality order in 2017, and now we currently have nothing. So 2020, what does this mean? AT&T will actually favor their own streaming service over other online services that they also provide access to. Sprint will throttle customers that are using Skype to make calls, and Comcast has been caught throttling videos unless customers upgrade to special paid plans. So in general, you have to pay if you want to access video. Well, who does this harm? Small businesses, actually. They cannot afford the paid prioritization, and if their company cannot be found online, then their products and services will not be discovered and be available to customers. It also discourages innovation. People are less likely to work with new ways of providing content online if they have to work within the confines of the ISPs. So how does the US compare to other countries? Currently, India is leading the pack. In the year 2018, the Indian government unanimously approved new regulations supporting net neutrality. The regulations are considered to be the world's strongest net neutrality rules, and they guarantee free and open internet for nearly 500 million people. And they are expected to help startups and innovation in this country. China is actually in the rear right now. Studies have found that they have the most content filtering internet regimes, and the government increasingly employs sophisticated methods to limit content online, to slow down sites, and to have legal regulation and surveillance over how people are accessing content online. Speed is also a consideration. Did you know it would take over 30 hours to download a 5 gigabyte movie file in Yemen? 5 gigabytes is about a 2.5 hour film, so that's pretty standard of a Netflix film that you might want to download for your train ride. Someone in Taiwan could download that same 5 gigabyte film in only 8 minutes. How does New York fare? We're kind of so-so. We're sort of in the middle of the states, so we suffer from a lot of Wi-Fi interference. And the US is not yet on the 5G network. We are behind many countries in implementing this. There are much, much faster internet speeds and downloading speeds available to us, and we just don't have the technology and infrastructure in place to connect to them. So what's important about our lesson from this week? Well, net neutrality is about access. Who can access the information, which sites are allowed to access the internet, and how fast the sites load. And this is all determined by the ISPs. You should know what an ISP is. We should know that we've gone back and forth between net neutrality. We've had net neutrality in the past, we've had it repealed in the past and reinstated, and that currently we do not have net neutrality. We should know who suffers from the lack of net neutrality and who stands to gain. And we'll see a lot of this content posted in your individual in-class assignment for this week on the discussion board. But that's a wrap from me from this week. I look forward to seeing your content online and learning together with you in this new format.
Yeah, it's going digital.